Correct.
What tech or would a broker need internally to integrate Condor into their business? I mean, what do they need to have on their side as just seamless?
So if they use Scale, there's nothing needed. And that's really the brilliant part of it. If you don't, I would say with Scale, there's nothing needed. So that's another reason that they should just add it. Like absolutely nothing. We do the hosting, everything. All we need is the company's logos and about a week to set it up. It's fully integrated with Scale, and we can integrate with unlimited number of liquidity providers. So we have integrations already with Xcore, PrimeXM, with 1-0, as well as Solera, as well as several direct bank connections. So, but through there, you can create multiple hubs. You can do different margin offerings. We also have had a lot of companies coming to us because we created 3-tier exchange style margining, where you can do initial margin, maintenance margin, liquidation margin on a group level. And then on a client level, you can do risk drawdown as a percentage or as a dollar amount. So there's been a lot of demand where their clients want to make sure they don't, or their money managers want to have the ability to have drawdowns that most platforms don't offer. So risk management tends to be a big reason. The other is that we can customize any reporting, whether it's a 1FR report from NFA, if it's UK reports, South Korean reports, Chinese, whatever you need, we can fully customize it for you.
Yes.
And the number one, and on top of that, is many firms just don't have their own development team. So if you don't have your own development team, it's much easier to work with someone like us than to like finding your own. It's just a very long roadmap. So with us, you basically get a head start. So you get all that we have at the start, and then you can build on top of that.
Brilliant. Aside from Condor, what other products or services do you provide as a business that can help brokers?
So we provide a very simple back office for MT4. It simply provides it's like a second way to view the data. It's not a primary system. It works through the manager, and it allows the brokers just to get a full overview of what's going on. I call it like an owner's dashboard. You land from a plane, you log in, you see your company's positions, your P&L, all in real time, and you have extra analytics that the operations department really tends to like. It's not a complete CRM, but it's a great system if you want to run a white label off of a groups on Manager, for example. The other thing that we do right now is we provide development services to banks, brokerages, and all sorts of companies in the industry. We also act as a tech department for a few companies in the space. So anything that has to do with the technology side of the financial services.
Amazing. Obviously, you're integrated with a lot of different feeds, a lot of different solutions. How, as a business, do you stay on top of all the different integrations that you have? I mean, there's a lot going on there. How do you deal with that?
We built a Condor Price Hub, and so it manages it all. So we can basically, any feed that enters into our system, like we can use to create different feeds. So this is just going to be one tool for brokers as well, if they want to just use it as a way to source and distribute liquidity and not have to pay, for example, the excessive ECN charges. They can use our software for doing that. But we basically built a really simplified system. We get online monitoring, and it ends up not being so difficult. Not so much.
Yeah, obviously you got a clever solution, so that makes sense. Let's talk about, we spoke earlier about COVID. COVID on the industry. Well, let's talk about you guys. How did COVID affect you as a business? How did you cope with it? What changes did you have to make? And how did
So what's interesting is that we started the company in 2016 with a few,
Mitch, your voice is going to sing. Just speak again.
Yeah, better.
You seem to, there's a lag, I think, in your video and your speech.
All right. Still?
It's back now. Okay, you're okay. I'll ask again. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about COVID. We're talking earlier about COVID. How has it affected you as a business? How did you deal with the challenges of working from home and COVID as a whole?
So we actually set up a distributed team prior to COVID. which did help us significantly. It almost made it look as if we were kind of a little bit ahead.
Right.
So that we had good because we had our CTO based out of Israel, finance in California, doing sales out of Cyprus, and then we had a full development team in Russia. Now, what we did,
you were COVID friendly.
We had a COVID resilient, anti-fragilistic COVID, so to speak. We had set up, but what we did, and we did the Zoom calls, but I'd say that the developers, we set it up because we set it up for them to work remotely when COVID began, but we did that not really out to protect their health, but it was more to protect the company's health. Because if all of the developers get sick at the same time, it's a big problem. So that's why when the initial COVID outbreaks, when some companies were just being very unkind about it, it really made no sense to me because no one wants their whole office to get sick at once. And to me, that's a bigger risk than anything else. So in today's day and age, we already had many of the tools and the Zooms and the Trelos and all of that. So it just really, stepped up. And we also knew that the people in the company, because we had a distributed work mentality, these were all people that we hired because they could do their job. So we didn't care where they were so much, as opposed to hiring people only because they could be in a specific city. So it didn't affect us too badly in that respect. And then, overall for the industry, there was a saying I heard a long time ago that the biggest risk to the online trading business is world peace and global stability. So in that context, it's been good for the trading part of the market. In fact, if it was much more stable and calm and a Goldilocks mentality, the last 2 years for the industry itself probably would have not done as well as it has.
Okay, so it's good to hear you were COVID ready and you stepped up to the challenge and really fitted into your model and you looked after your staff. So that's great to hear. So Condor, you mentioned before, is a lot about creating a unique proposition for your brokerage and giving something unique for the clients. Is there an option to use Condor as a startup broker, or is this less likely to be of interest?
Actually, yes. So because MetaTrader has made it nearly impossible for any startup company to go and offer them, because you need everything done right out of the way. So we've set up a solution for our trading platform. It can be implemented within weeks. It can even be implemented on a Bitcoin basis only, with Bitcoin being used for deposits, as well as there's liquidity providers that work with Bitcoin only. So a broker could literally, all they would need is a logo, $10,000, for both the LP as well as the setup. And it would be very simple online registration, nothing as advanced as what you guys have, but it would almost be like a starter program for someone who's not yet big enough for scale. If they want to get started on Condor as a unique solution, they can do that right away. We had actually one broker, one company that started this way, very small company, was just getting started. The very first weekend, they signed up 300 accounts. Me and the developers were like, he was one or two people, and it was amazing. He was doing all these deposits. We connected a few simple payment systems, and it was going. We provided the price feed. It was really connected to liquidity, and it was just phenomenal to see how an entrepreneur could go out there, just really a few $1,000s, get going, and the next thing you know, he had 300 clients literally on the first weekend. Amazing. So the answer to your question is yes, you can start it, and not only can you start, you can be successful.
It's great to hear, because it's great to hear. All right, let's look into the future. Where do you see the retail forex business going? Where do you see the industry going into different trading verticals? What's the future hold for us in your mind?
Let's see. So retail trading, well, it's becoming more and more popular. So I'd say now that pretty much any 25 to 30-year-old is happy to trade. It's just a matter of time before it's 15 to 20-year-olds. But it's really that it has to work for all audiences. So I think it's going to move away from the professional trader type setups more away from like these, more advanced options, technical analysis type traders to more like text message type trading. Like a friend says, text trade, just simple. It's going to just go simpler and simpler and simpler until you take almost all of the quantitativeness out of it. It's going to be, the systems are going to be just as easy for women and children as, men, women, professional traders. It's going to be like a ubiquitous, inclusive, all-encompassing trading experience, even to the point now where, instead of investing based on asset classes, you're going to invest based on your social conscious ideas, right? If you believe in, green solutions, you'll do automatic investments into green funds. If you're anti-green funds, you're going to believe in the anti-green. It's going to be more of a, everything's becoming like, coming politicized in a sense. So I think the trading and things like that, it's even going to, it's any, where there used to be analytics and clear and, like sports at one point was off limits, but everything's kind of merging, becoming more social. Privacy is probably going more away, is kind of the trend. People want everyone else to know how they're trading. So we're just simply here to adapt to the changes of the market, but also provide, intense levels of security where we can store, for example, the client's trading data on separate servers. We can prevent the brokers from even seeing the client's demographic details. So we have all of these tools that allow companies to exist in this changing marketplace where there's demands for privacy, there's demands for sharing, but there's also just demands for functionality and free use, right? So as a technology provider, we're agnostic and we just support all of it.
Sounds exciting, to be honest. I want to be trading that word myself. It's very exciting stuff. Great insights. Great. Anything else you want to discuss? Any other, not off the questions for this is pretty much the end. Anything you wanted to, any other questions you want to ask, that any information you've not yet discussed or delivered that you want to?
I just wanted to say that, FDCTech is a company, and, we're very excited about working with you guys at Scale. I believe you guys are.
All right, so I'll prime you with the question. So I can ask. All right, so Mitch, tell me a bit more about FDC and how do you operate as a company, and what partnerships do you have and other people, clients, companies that you work with?
Yeah, so we were founded in 2016. We developed our own trading platform. We actually customized and sold a copy of the source code to a large bank in South America. And then we began licensing the platform after that. We are a development company first. Then we actually became a publicly traded company listed on the OTCQB on the US as FDCT. And now we're seeking to acquire financial services businesses that will also become our clients, where we can add technology to them. That's why I was discussing before the robo-advisor app and things like that. And we're kind of like bringing together, like-minded companies under the same umbrella. Because, fairly recently, there was a company, eToro received a $10 billion valuation through a SPAC. And so we call ourselves almost like a technology-enabled SPAC, where we have the public vehicle and we have the technology. So we want to bring other like-minded companies under our umbrella so that we can then, compete with the largest ones out there. So we provide the software and kind of growing as we go.
Brilliant. Wow. I didn't realize the extent of your growth over the years. That's fantastic. And what partners are you working with at the moment? Obviously, you're connected to lots of different things. What good partnerships would you recommend to brokers today?
The number one partnership that we're working with is, Scale. And what Scale does, it gives us, plug and play access. And then the rest of the partnerships, it's done on, case by case basis. So it's not something that we, typically advertise out there, but we have several. We have marketing partnerships, liquidity partnerships, data feed partnerships. So based on whatever the brokers they want from us, we typically have a way to provide them that solution.
Boom! Well done.
All right. We did